Welcome to the Mind Body Energy in Balance podcast.
Peace and love, everybody. I'm out here at the park. We're going to start our walk and stretch in a few minutes. It is a Saturday morning get-together a couple times a month to just walk and socialize. It's nothing strenuous or extra. And then we'll do a little stretching and just kind of sit around and fellowship and, just really connect. Because in today's society, that is what is missing, the connection. We are all so devoted to these devices. I know I realized that my own personal capacity to focus is intercepted and interrupted by the dedication, time, and energy, I have been spending on digital spaces. And so I had to, take back my brain, which is an interesting thing and a fight that most people don't realize that they're going to have to end up doing if you want to have all your energy and time and vitality sucked away by being on these devices. I feel like it's a hair in my eye. Anyway, so it's walk and stretch day, Saturday here out at the park. And I just want to impress upon you the importance to stay connected to family, to friends, to your circles of love, because what is happening in the world is not new. Everything is cyclical. The leadership of the country is a cyclical dynamic. Now, it may be more overt than we've experienced in the past. It may be more it feels like a lack of care and love for humanity, but it's not new. It's cyclical. Lord knows our ancestors experienced that during the brutal manifestations of chattel slavery, and the Jim Crow and Reconstruction and the whole history of, people showing that they have a lack of humanity. So this is not new. We know how to navigate and not only survive but thrive this dynamic that we're living here in at this time, right? The main thing that keeps you fortified is your circle of love, your tribe. Humanity was never designed to be a part of a 400 million people group. That's not the way humanity thrives. In fact, if you look at the 365 plus million people that live on the North American continent, or just America itself, because it's more in the North America, it's Canada and the rest of it, but just America itself, United States of America, 365 million people plus are actually in subgroups. People actually are tribed up in their various community relationships and community, cultural way of doing things, right? So human beings, the creature that we are, the creature we've been created to be, survive, and thrive in our smaller circles of love, our tribes, if you will. And what has happened, especially in an accelerated way in the last 6 years, we'll say 10 years, but especially since the pandemic, the machinations or the mechanics of those so-called people in charge have really put the divide and conquer energy in space, where, you are not focused on connection. You can't look people in the eye no more. You go in a room, you're supposed to be at a party, everybody is looking at their phone, they're texting each other engagement as opposed to walking over to somebody and talking to them, right? So that disconnects the tribe, the circle of love, the connection. And what helps anybody survive the onslaught of cruelties and inhumane behavior is their capacity to retreat to the circle, the tribe that they are surrounded by and care for, and of like minds and such. So even with this walk and stretch that we are doing on Saturdays out here at the park and various locations, it's about connection. It's not about mama yoga trying to exercise somebody and you tired or whatever. That's a bonus. The real dynamic is connection, because that is how we're going to not only survive but thrive out here. One more person called me about the price of eggs, Lord have mercy, and how much tomatoes cost and potatoes and all that. It's all good, I get it. But let's not talk about the problem. Let's have discussions around the solution. Like, how are we going to make more money? How are we going to, how are you going to insulate yourself, from the onslaught? How are you going to, for lack of a better term, Trump-proof your money? Trump-proof your life and your lifestyle. And I'm using Trump as a verb, but it's not really him. It's the manifestation and the energies that he represents. The whole wave of hatefulness that he has ushered in and been, the arbiter of, the instigator of, the let's do it this way, the permission giver for that type of behavior and, devilment. You with me? So when we talk in our groups, let's not have conversations about how miserable Ish is, Sugar Honey Iced Tea is. Let's have conversations about resilience, and that will foster the levees that hold our families, our communities, our tribes, our circle of love together. Let's talk about how to create businesses, how to create economies within our circle, because that's how you're gonna make it through this stuff. Even during the transatlantic slave trade, even during chattel slavery, even during the brutality of that, our ancestors had the ingenuity and the wherewithal to come up with economies within the circle of love. Ways in which to trade with one another that kept and sustained us. And that is where my person's perspective we need to get to. Focusing on the problem only gets more of the problem. Right? Focusing on the hurt and the pain and the fear only focuses on and only gets you more pain, hurt, and fear. So when we come together, like we're about to do in this walk and stretch out here at the park, right? Yes, we're going to walk. Yes, we're going to move our body. Yes, we're going to get the blood flowing, at a very, relaxed, calming space, not rigorous at all. But when we sit down at the picnic tables out here and we sit under the trees with our blankets and our own personal drinks and everything, the conversation will be steered towards solution, resiliency, restorative care, and what we can offer one another in our group chat, our group discussion of how we're going to not just survive but thrive, right? All right, y'all. I'm gonna get going now, and I will talk with you later. Remember to surround yourself with your circle of love. Put your phone down and look somebody in the eye. Give them a hug. Tell people you love them and let them feel that energy emanating from your heart, okay? And I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love. Check out my YouTube page and follow me on Instagram and TikTok.
Peace.